Let's discuss about Danmachi Season 6 on what will gonna happens after war game of Freya and Hestia Familia, and how would Ryu say goodbye to goddess Estrella, and how is she going to join Hestia Familia? As we see in the last episode of Season 5, Freya wanted to quit being a goddess and became a normal girl as Sir. In the first chapter of Volume 19, which will become Season 6 of animated series. They have a celebration party after Great Faction War, and no one among the residents of the lower world seems to remember what happened before and after. In other words, only a few people know that the goddess Freya is Ms. Sir. At the same time, the true identity of Sir was spread among the gods. Although Hestia, as representative of the alliance of factions, allowed Sir existence, it seems that this level of humiliation is deserved. It is said that many people, mainly the goddesses, think this level is too light. But that person no longer has status, reputation, or even wealth. Then she should not repay it as a goddess, but as a girl. The same goes for the people of Freya Familia. In addition to having to obey Mamma Mia, they should also work in this tavern, because they want to minimize Sir's burden. As a loyal family member, they want to share this punishment together. During the celebration, Belle heard a cool voice, and he turned around and saw a beautiful girl standing there. She was not wearing a tavern uniform, but a traveling outfit. Ryu must have just returned to the tavern. Her figure made Belle widen his eyes. Ryu asked Belle to borrow a moment of his time, and then Belle and Ryu leave and walked a few steps until they came to an alley. The laughter in the pub and the noise on the avenue gradually faded away. Belle asked if everything is okay, and Ryu answered, "Yes, I have said goodbye to Lady Astria." Ryu stopped and turned around, and Belle think about what happened for the faction war a few days ago when goddess Astria came over. And in order to say goodbye to the goddess who no longer belongs to Labyrinth City, Ryu left Aariopiad to escort Lady Astria to her current base, together with the second-generation Hestia Familia. At that time, Belle thought, maybe she won't come back. But now Belle was relieved to see Ryu again. But at the same time, he couldn't help but ask one thing. Is it really okay if you don't go back to Hestia Familia? Lady Astria's favor is still engraved on Ryu's back. No matter how painful the past was, this person is still a righteous family member and should still be able to follow the goddess. Belle said to himself, if he were in Ryu's position, his heart would definitely be shaken if he must separate from Hestia. If he could, he would definitely choose to be with his goddess. And then Ryu answered, well, that's good, and I gave up on justice once. I only cared about myself and stayed away from Lady Astria. Now, if I want to join again, it would be too selfish. Moreover, Lady Astria has established a new shelter. She has a new family that admires her. Belle couldn't help but lean out at this time. Ryu showed a steady smile like an elder sister comforting her younger brother. And I have also found a new place to stay. For example, Sir and the others. And to your side. This is my choice, Belle. I want to stay here. I want to stay with you who saved me. She did not stop to look back on the past, but chose the future. Her undisguised golden hair, which has now reached her back, seems to indicate her answer. Besides, this is not a separation of life and death. We can meet again if we want to. We have also agreed to write letters to each other starting today. The bond between Ryu and Lady Astria, and Alice and the others, will not disappear. And then Ryu said there's something she want to tell Belle. At this time, Belle remembered about Ryu's confession on the war game, and his face turned red. It was very clear that he was not allowed to have any misunderstandings, such as being a friend or a rabbit pet. Suddenly, when Belle's whole face heated up rapidly, he instantly realizing that he was alone with a very beautiful elf, and his heart beat uncontrollably. He's full of so many thoughts when Ryu said that she wanted to join Hestia Familia. Belle turns to became a stupid for expecting something. And in the next morning, Yamato's voice blended into the clear blue sky when they've heard Ryu wanted to join Hestia Familia. They were all shocked to hear that the level 6 first-class adventurer wanted to join them. Yamato agreed on the spot since she looked up so much to Ryu ever since, and Ryu helped them so many times. After discussing the situation, they all agreed to let Ryu become a member of Hestia Familia, but they need to come up to her new last name, since in the record Gale, Wind is now dead. At that moment, Ryu suggested Ryu Crenel is one to be picked, since it should be naturally to borrow the last name of the leader. And then Hestia went around behind Ryu with great speed and quickly equipped her sandals on his right hand to hit the back of Ryu's head, making a crisp sound. I thought you were the only one who wasn't like this. I can clearly see your evil thoughts, you liar, you useless demon. Hestia went crazy and then stopped by the others. At the end, Ryu register under the registered name Ryu Astrea. Now that Ryu joined Hestia Familia and having a level 6 and 2 first-class adventurer, they've become a super small elite faction, considering they are one of the strongest Familia now. Besides the level composition of the group members, the biggest reason is just Goddess Freya has become the follower of Goddess Hestia. On the surface, Freya Familia has been disbanded, but in fact, it should be said that Goddess Freya and now Miss Sir directly joined Lady Hestia's banner. From the perspective of the Aurario, it is impossible to let go of the huge fighting power of the tough warrior. But the goddess of beauty, Freya, who charms the entire city, is terrifying. These two earnest and true ideas conflicted with each other, and the final compromise was to become a follower of the virgin goddess, Hestia. As a matter of fact, Freya being follower of Hestia and Mr. Otar and the others will not leave the city, and will even contribute to the exploration of the dungeon. Therefore, they are only in the position of terrible tavern employees on the surface, or family members waiting to be converted, who will never accept recruitment. To put it bluntly, it can also be seen as the great power of Freya Familia being absorbed by Hestia Familia. Hestia Familia is now updated to rank B, but in official record of the guild it should be rank S. They have probably won't be exploring dungeons together, but other than that, they've been really helpful in all aspects. The ones who are most cared for are the guards, who were also discussed at the celebration party the day before yesterday. Miss Sir asked Hogni, Hedon, and others to keep vigil around the base area, especially around Miss Haruhime 24 hours a day. In addition, after knowing that Gale Wind was still alive, people who had a grudge against Miss Ryu seemed to appear frequently, but these were all eliminated by Hedon and others following Sir instructions. In other words, Hestia Familia is now under the protection of tough warriors, including first-level adventurers. To put it to the extreme, without Sir and the others, it would have been difficult for Ryu to join the Hestia Familia. Aina comes to record the information of all members of Hestia Familia. Lily and Haruhime, including Belle, is upgraded. Then Aina asked about Ryu position. Is she really a magic swordsman? Well, she said that she is basically qualified for all positions, so she will go wherever there is a shortage of people. She can also be a forward, a defender. And she also said that a therapist or a healer can probably do it. They all been shocked and couldn't help but be a little vague. And Aina, who was writing down notes with a quill pen, also held onto her glasses that were about to slip off several times. Ryu herself possesses reply magic, and now with the newly revealed inheritance magic Astrea record, she can use all kinds of abilities of the former Justice faction, Alice and others' magic. For example, the wide area healing magic possessed by healers. To put it bluntly, Ryu can really do anything on her own. Although Belle also a first-level adventurer, there is a clear gap in level between him and Ryu, who can only cut into enemy formations. It can be said that Ryu's addition has made the formation of Hestia Familia rock solid. After discussing, Belle said he was thinking about going to a new floor. He wanted to go deeper than the 27th floor. After experiencing the Saboteur incident, although the mysterious city of water has not been completely explored, it should no longer be a problem. According to the guild, their set of power is enough to safely go to the 36th floor, which is only one step away from the deep floor. When she was in Hestia Familia, Ryu had gone as far as the 41st floor. With her knowledge and experience, even if it was the first time she set foot on the floor, there shouldn't be any mistakes with Lily and the others. Together with the heretics, reached the 37th floor by their own strength. So they should have experienced the atmosphere of the lower level to some extent. After reaching B level, Hestia Familia will frequently receive mandatory missions from expeditions and will definitely challenge dungeons. So until then, just stay calm. Then Belle heard some kind of sound and looked out the window. The sound of flute. Just when Belle was confused by the sudden incident, Aina whispered, "Ah. It's the school district." Belle was shocked by the number of people gathered at the edge of the city, and then they saw the school district, a town that was floating and turned into a ship. Miss Aina, who was standing next to Belle, was speechless, narrowed her eyes as if looking at another hometown. Now the school district is back. The supergiant ship arrives with the cheers of the labyrinth city. Now, as Belle and Aina comes to port with many citizens to get to see the school district. The school district is the largest school in the world that travels around the world. The school district is a mobile educational institution operated with the support of the guild. During the voyage, they will actively recruit and accept children from 6 to 18 years old from all over the world who have the will to learn. Miss Aina tells more about the school district because she was once a student of there. While I go fast forward a little, Belle was kidnapped by Hermes and tell Belle to infiltrate the school district and pretend to be a level 1 adventurer because of the dispute between Aariopiad and school district. Belle joined the education district to mentor a troublesome group of students he disguised as a level 1 student for the majority of the novel. The main character of this novel is Nina. She is Aina's younger sister and a mage specializing in healing magic. The subplot of Nina not talking to Aina over the years is not overly interesting to me, as my view is that siblings aren't necessarily close with each other. This sibling issue was also in Freya's arc with different characters like Alan and Anya, so the author clearly has a view on how it should be. But even without an appreciation for this, I did feel a genuine connection between Nina and Belle. Nina's determination to help Belle with his studies and her caring attitude are a solid foundation for their friendship. In his time as a student, Belle becomes more perceptive of how others interact in a group and how to direct them. This novel essentially retreads Belle's earlier adventurers, especially Volume 5 when the group has to travel to the 18th floor and get past the Goliath, except this time Belle is in a mentorship role. And the turning point for Belle's and Nina's relationship happens late in the novel when Belle and his student group are resting on the 18th floor. Belle tells Nina she shouldn't compare herself to her sister so much, and that the fact she has helped him so much is proof of her worth. Nina falls for Belle from this, and she is not shy about it like Ryu when she confessed. She pointed it that Belle did not misunderstood. This is why the connection between Nina and Belle is very good. It can also be argued that it is among the weakest of the relationships Belle has in his familia. Simply because Belle is not honest with Nina for the majority of the story, and his circumstances at this point are not parallel to where she is. Belle is a level 5 famous adventurer and Nina is someone trying to find her way. Belle has little reason to take an interest in Nina's circumstances. Specifically, Nina being Aina's younger sister compel him to. Nina's affection for Belle, while meaningful for her, has a far smaller meaning for him. Belle's identity is discovered soon after he has successfully helped his group learn to work together and appreciate each other. Belle and Hestia called by Uranos, and Uranos thanked them who were running around in the incident surrounding Freya Familia. At the same time, he also made a clear request to move forward. The founding god of the guild said so that the last of the 3 great adventurer commissions shouldered by the labyrinth city, and when the black dragon is defeated, Belle will definitely appear. For this reason, Uranos hoped Belle that he can also look outside the city, not just the underground labyrinth or dungeon. I hope he can expand and deepen his knowledge. After all, the last dragon called the Black Dragon, the town seat, is outside Aariopiad. Although he didn't say it directly, Hermes no longer concealed his desire to make Belle a contemporary hero. In other words, Uranos really want Belle to go to school district to expand his knowledge. And then, Hermes seemed to have the idea of giving it a try and spoke the truth. Hermes said, the most important thing is that there is another level 7, and he want Belle to come into contact with him. Hearing the words level 7, Hestia showed her greatest surprise since this conversation. Besides that fierce man, are there other level 7? And in the school district? Hermes hope he can give Belle some stimulation. This level 7 is an outstanding person who is called a modern hero. Hestia had just arrived from heaven not long ago, so she didn't know much about the situation in the lower world. After learning that there was an exceptional person equal to that Otar, she was greatly shocked. Just as Hermes said, Aurelio was betting everything on the dragon's subjugation, and Belle could no longer escape. The young man must survive in the inevitable violent turmoil from now on. Hermes also said this could be the last time Belle takes a time off, as if Hermes can see through the future, because soon after school district arc Loki Familia has been annihilated on 60th floor, and Belle and other will have to rescue the Loki Familia. Back to our topic, Belle had talked to Hestia earlier and told her he would like to go see the school district in order to follow Ina's advice of seeking new things besides the dungeon. Baldur's condition for letting Belle enroll secretly was for him to take care of the problematic students. Hestia also believed Belle needed as much rest as possible, so she allowed Belle to enroll at the school district. After obtaining permission from his familia, Belle went to the school district 3 days after receiving the invitation. Belle was in the room to meet Baldur, which was the headmaster's room. A man in his late 20s, dressed in a black teacher uniform, then entered the room. He looked strong and like a knight to Belle, and had been informed about Belle's secret enrollment, introducing himself as Leon Vardenberg. Belle shook his hand and said, "Please give me your advice." As for Leon Vandenberg, he knows the true identity of Lappy Flemish as Belle. Let's skip the part which Belle met Nina and their adventure, because we already discussed it on part 3. As for epilogue, after their adventure, Belle, disguised, had been revealed. Belle was called to the principal's office. Belle showed his gratitude for his special internship of school district and said in the end, "My identity was exposed." Baldur answered, "Yeah, I heard about it." But what's incredible is that the third squad didn't mention the first-level adventurer who appeared on the 25th floor at all. Belle was forced to reveal his identity to help the third squad on 25th floor because of some incident he helped the third team. Despite his cover being blown, the third squad didn't spread the news about him. The last person besides us in the principal's office was Teacher Leon, who smiled bitterly while reading the report. I heard that this man was more dedicated than anyone else and rescued many victims. It was Leon who went to the 18th floor to take us and others back. Leon said that Belle helped with Nina's problems, as he had predicted, but he had also surpassed his expectations. Leon then said he wanted to adventure with him now, and called Belle by his first name for the first time. When Baldur asked if Belle had spoken with Nina since then, Belle said that things were awkward between them, but she had excitedly told him that she was going to meet her sister. Winter had arrived, and Aina was leaving the guild when Nina called out to her. Nina didn't remember Aina, so she introduced as if it was the first time they met, and Aina did the same. Nina said she was sorry for not writing back to Aina's letters, explaining that she did it because she was hurt since she was always following her sister. Nevertheless, now in the school district, she had been taught a lot of important things by a person important to her. Aina asked if that person was a classmate, but Nina answered it was Belle Crenell, which shocked Aina. Nina said Belle was an incredible adventurer, and that she was saved a lot by him. Aina was about to ask if Nina had fallen for Belle, when Nina declared she was going to join the Hestia Familia, surprising Aina even more. Nina completely ignored Aina's reaction, and her saying that Belle already had eyes, who he admired. Nina made a promise that Aina should be the one to register her as an adventurer, and then said that she would see a lot of new sceneries by his side and that she would become an amazing adventurer. And now we're going to continue it on Prologue of Volume 20. The prologue begins with a flashback of Leon saying, "I saw a hero on the horizon where the sky and the sea merge as dark as if the world were coming to an end in the midst of that absolute darkness. One of the colossal beasts, the legendary sea monster Leviathan, that boasted a body so vast it seemed capable of devouring the world. A creature that created devastating waves just by moving, indescribable with mere words, broke and crushed everything, while the flying drops of water were like bullets. The colossal sea fortress, known as the school district, was completely destroyed. In that final abyss of the ocean, the hero's glow never faded. It was etched in the eyes of Leon while clinging to a plank of the ship and could do nothing but look on in amazement. Leon was very impressed and amazed when he saw Althea, a gray-haired witch, repelled the storm and gale with her mere presence. Leon witnessed the battle of this female warrior against the legendary monster. Althea is floating in the air as logic was distorted in the chaos of the magic vortex. She continued to sing even with her lips stained with fresh blood. She's doing a very long chant magic while fighting the legendary monster with the help of Zeus and Hera Familia members. As Althea continued doing her long chant magic and concentration of enormous magical power, the legendary beast was scared and let out a passionate expression of grief or sorrow and attack, and make a tidal wave broke out. But the devastating sea onslaught capable of devouring and annihilating everything was stopped by the roars of the Althea's comrade. With the magic of the comrades clinging to their rickety rafts, shattered the beast's scales. And then, a single thrust from Althea, a female warrior using her ultimate magic, brought down thousands of flashes of light. The peak of a devastating explosion, devoid of all beauty, enveloped everything. In the final moments, just before Leon losing consciousness, he heard something in that white world. It was the triumphant roar of the heroes who defeated the great beast. Back to the present, Leon comes to realization that the world yearns for heroes. Leon looked out over the school district from the temple tower, the bridge that rose in the center of the colossal ship. When he heard the voice of his god calling him, he turned around. Balder said a message has arrived from the Great Wall. One of the snores echoed from the valley. I'd like to hear the opinion of a non-human god. How much time do you think we have? 12 days. Balder's answer was concise, and Leon did not doubt it. He nodded slowly. In that case, I'll go, and if I may, I'd like to bring some companions. Leon said he wanted to talk Bel with him. Balder's ever-closed eyelids curved gently, forming a warm smile. Leon also smiled in response as he took one last look at it. The adventurer with whom I had an agreement. I want to take this opportunity to dream of a new hero. In Chapter 1, Bel returns to the Hestia Familia base after completing his mission in the school district, under the alias Lapi Flemish. Nina, a half-elf healer of the school district's Balder class, temporarily joins the Hestia Familia as part of a guild-approved internship program. Nina shows interest and admiration towards Bel, which causes tensions and awkward moments between the female family members, such as Ryu, Hestia, and Lily. The Hestia Familia receives a mandatory quest from the guild to explore the 29th floor of the dungeon, Dense Forest Ravine, as part of their B-level promotion requirements. During the preparations, Nina insists on participating in the expedition, despite Lily and Aina's doubts. Ryu supports her inclusion, noting her usefulness as a healer to reduce potion and supply consumption. The tension between the guild and the school district escalates, resulting in the suspension of practices and collaborations between both entities. The Hestia family faces the consequences of the departure of Nina, who returns to the school district after the suspension of her internship program, leaving family members grieving her loss, especially given her potential as a key healer. Meanwhile, the gods of Aurario, led by Hermes, intervene to turn the conflict into an organized event, the Urban Competition Festival, a series of competitions between Aurario and the school district to resolve tensions symbolically and definitively. Later, Ice and Bel meet by chance on the streets of Aurario. Ice offers to train together, and Bel, excited by the opportunity to improve under Ice guidance, accepts. During training, Ice tests Bel's skills with advanced moves, highlighting his progress but also showing areas where he needs to improve. Bel faces a crucial decision, deciding which side to support in this conflict, as his loyalty to both Aurario and the school district puts him in a difficult position. In Chapter 3, The World, the Festival, and Truth. In the past, Leon Vardenberg followed Zald, a level 7 executive, from Zeus Familia into the deep floors of the dungeon, and saw him defeat Udaeus in one blow. Zald possessed the best or second-best swordsmanship among Zeus and Hera Familia members, and so the person wanted to steal his technique so that he could cut through a hill. Zald allowed Leon to see his technique because Leon, along with Ottar, Finn, Riveria, and Gareth, were talented enough to become strong enough for Zald to devour and become stronger. Zald later defeated the behemoth and Ottar, who saw the battle, told that even Leon didn't see it, that the strike that cut down the behemoth was from a conqueror. Leon eventually viewed heroes as conquerors once he witnessed Althea defeating the Leviathan. Those heroes were eventually destroyed by the remaining Black Dragon. In other words, Leon learned and copied the skill of the strongest familia and make it his own skill, and named it Afterglow. But even so, Leon believed that the ultimate technique he learned must not be lost in order to defeat the Black Dragon and overcome destruction. Leon, Belle, and Nina in the present are about to conduct a field work, which is part of the school district's curriculum. Leon says there is something that really needs to be investigated in the north. They will rush things so that they can make it back in time for the Aariopiad. Leon continues running towards the destination with Belle, following behind while carrying Nina. They would stop if monsters appear and make sure there isn't any left alive, so that nearby villages would be safe. During this, Belle is able to see Leon's fast and strong swordsmanship, which he finds captivating and believes might win against Audar's absolute defense. After 3 days since leaving Aurario, the group arrives at the remains of a town that got destroyed, with half of its residents killed by a dragon long ago. Belle wonders if it's okay for adventurers in Aurario to remain as they are despite the crisis the world is facing. Leon says it is not good to be rash, and defeating the Black Dragon requires careful preparation. The heroes from 15 years ago were very strong, and so their loss was a huge blow to the world. Belle asks if Leon knew the Zeus and Hera Familia members, which he replies that he participated in the battle against the Leviathan. But Leon didn't actually fight the Leviathan with the heroes. When Leon first met Balder and received Falna from him, he spat on his feet and immediately went into the dungeon. Leon would try to beat up anyone he didn't like, but it was impossible to do so to those from Zeus and Hera Familias. Those heroes wreaked havoc everywhere in the city, and Leon, together with Atar, Finn, and others, would get beaten up by them. Leon then would challenge them and kept chasing their backs no matter how many times he got humiliated. During a flashback, Leon monologues to themselves that the heroes from Zeus and Hera Familias were seen as rotten people before they defeated the Behemoth and Leviathan. They didn't accept the existence of weak people and beat them up often. Hera Familia were even worse than Zeus Familia. The level 9 Captain Empress and Althea often beat Leon along with others like Atar and Finn. Despite the rage and humiliation, Leon is determined to chase after the afterglow of those heroes. But during the battle against Leviathan, he saw the people he hated, which are Zeus and Hera Familia, as heroes, and their brilliance gave hope to the despair he saw. Those heroes were defeated by the Black Dragon, but their afterglow still remains. Surpassing them was a will Zeus and Hera Familias left behind after being defeated by the Black Dragon. In the present, the person now possesses the strength to cut through a hill, which Althea had encouraged him to do so in the past. It just shows that Leon idolizes Althea so much. Leon wants more heroes to rise up and produce a light that will surpass the brilliant scene he saw. He then reveals the true purpose of the fieldwork is to observe Belle as a potential hero. The fieldwork will end the next day, and the group will have an adventure where Leon will assess Belle's capabilities. Back in Aurario, the Aariopiad begins as a series of 5 representative matches taking place over 6 days, and the side that wins 3 of the matches first will be the winner. The match begins of the Aariopiad held on the last day as a water battle between teams of 3 people. The match is won so easily by Aurario, represented by Ryu, Asfi, and Aisha. Though Aurario had won the match, the adventurers and gods comment about Hestia Familia having a level 6. Having a level 6 Ryu was so overpowered, which they feel is unfair. The people of Aurario then loudly cheer for Belle, who they believe will be in the final match that's coming next. Alan, who is at the stadium to see the final match, is annoyed at the cheers. Hedden says it's noisy, while Alfred teases him if he feels proud. However, when Belle's group arrive at their destination, they see a tornado that reaches the sky like Babel in Aurario, and is big enough to swallow a large city. Leon explains that it is the spirit storm that seals away the Black Dragon, preventing it from leaving this land. The Great Seal was created at the end of the ancient times and beginning of the Age of Gods. After the Black Dragon got one of its eyes stolen by the great hero Albert and flew off, the Black Dragon issued a command to all dragons throughout the lower world to gather here. The gods assert it was in order to get food to restore its lost eye. The moment most of the dragons had gathered, a great spirit sacrificed themselves to create the seal that trapped all the dragons, including their king. The area that the huge tornado covers is what's called the Dragon's Valley. Whenever the sealed and sleeping Black Dragon gives off a snore, it creates a distortion that allows other dragons to escape and cause destruction in the lower world. A special barrier device made by the school district is installed at the base of the tornado, in a circle to maintain and reinforce the seal. As they are standing on a safe distance from the tornado, Leon asks Nina to take out a magic item and a crystal ball from the backpack they brought with them. Belle thinks he just imagined seeing something in the clouds above the tornado. Leon then says the adventure starts now and immediately swings his sword at Belle's head. The crystal ball on the ground then glows and a ray of light rises into the sky, which Belle realizes what's happening at their location is being broadcasted through a divine mirror. Leon tells Belle that their fight will decide the winner between Aurario and the school district. The people in Aurario and the school district are cheering towards Belle and Leon, who are about to fight in the final match of the Aariopiad, taking place near the Dragon's Valley. The Hestia Familia members, who hadn't seen Belle for some time, are surprised at first, but then cheer for him as well. Belle accepts Leon's challenge to a duel because he wants to become stronger in order to catch up to the person he admires. Belle with his Hestia knife, and Leon with his long sword, first clash with their weapons colliding. Belle launches 10 firebolts in a row, though Leon instantly slashes all of them into pieces. Belle can't help smiling while sweating at the level 7 who stands at the summit, along with Autar. The students at the school district, who understood the seriousness of lasting more than 3 seconds when fighting Leon, begin to acknowledge Belle's strength. The students are then shocked to see Nina casting healing magic on Belle. Nina, who has honed her technique of healing moving targets thanks to Lily and Ryu. Nina continuously restores Belle's physical strength while apologizing to Leon because she thinks the fight is unfair. Leon doesn't mind since Nina was brought with him and Belle on this trip in order to give him this handicap. Belle also doesn't mind receiving help since he's used to it. Belle doesn't have to worry about running out of stamina since Nina is continuously healing him. But he's surprised when he notices that his mind, which was depleted, has been restored too. Leon explains that Nina's Magia Chris also allows her to share her mind with her target. Hearing more of Nina's value makes Belle want her to join Hestia Familia more, which won't be a problem if Aurario wins the Aariopiad. And then Leon activates his magic blades of round, which manifests a one-handed sword made of magic in his bare left hand, and Leon's speed has increased. To avoid an incoming defeat, Belle fires 20 firebolts at Leon to give himself time to recover, and then another 77 firebolts after regaining his balance. Leon's twin swords of light reach their limit and shatter after hitting all the firebolts fired at him. Leon adds that, starting from agility, then dexterity, strength, endurance, magic, skill, and others, only one of them increases after each weapon is destroyed, so it's not efficient like Audar's Beastification that can increase an entire status at once. But Belle thinks the power obtained after the 12th weapon is released will surpass Audar's Beastification due to the complicated procedure. It may be comparable to level boost, with the boost to some stats even greater than that obtained from a rank up. Leon swings the axe down with both hands and it creates a blade of light that Belle barely dodges, even after firing a charged firebolt that speeds up his evasiveness. Belle and Nina are blown away from the created shockwave, and as Belle gets up, he sees half of the hill destroyed and turned into a deep fissure. It is the same magic Otter used in the Great Faction War, but more refined. Belle realizes while Otter has absolute defense, Leon has absolute offense. Some of the people watching the match recognize the slash as the technique that symbolizes Leon, and known to them as Castle Slash. Hedon remarks that, excluding Zeus and Hera Familias, Leon's slash is the only one capable of penetrating Otar's absolute defense head-on. Alan is irritated that Leon has gotten stronger again. To the world, Leon is currently the hero candidate closest to the last hero. Leon explains to Belle that he calls this technique Afterglow. The strengthening magic used by Leon and Otter originally can only increase the strength of their bodies and weapons, and cannot launch slashes like artillery. But combined with Afterglow, they can cut their target down from a distance. Both Leon and Otar stole this technique from the Zeus and Hera Familias. But Belle thinks while Otter complements his technique with his immense physical strength, Leon's technique is sharper and more frightening, due to higher level of proficiency. One of the conditions for learning Afterglow is to be a master of a slashing weapon like a sword or axe. Another condition is possessing magic or skill, similar to strengthening, so Belle is qualified to learn Afterglow. After helping Nina stand up, Leon takes out the great sword made by Welf from the backpack and throws it in front of Belle. Leon is convinced Belle's skill will lead him to obtain Afterglow. When Leon suddenly appears in front of Belle and swings his axe, Belle defends with the great sword he picked up. Leon tells Belle to use his skill and charge it as long as possible with Nina's healing magic. Leon will wait for the charge to finish, and then they will strike each other's Afterglow. Belle asks Leon what he is trying to do, which Leon replies he wants to master Afterglow. He has already cut hills and castles, but he wants to slay the dragon with this technique. Leon is following what Zeus and Hera Familia taught him, which is to clash with another person who had stolen this technique too. By improving each other and devouring his opponent, his Afterglow can reach the next stage. Belle hesitates at first, but decides to live up to Leon's expectation and asks Nina to help him. Belle's first attempt to create Afterglow is charging his greatsword with Argonaut for 1 minute, and then swings his sword based on the way Leon and Otter did before, but the slash doesn't get sent out flying. At the same time, Leon swings his axe and unleashes his Afterglow, which hits Belle's slash that he calls weak. Leon held back his slash, and Belle's slash was able to offset most of the impact, but Belle still gets blown away backwards. After being healed, Belle tries again with 2 minutes charge, but still gets cut one-sidedly by Leon's slash. He repeats the process with 3, 4, and 5 minutes charge, but still can't grasp the technique at all. With 3 minutes of Grand Belle, while he still can't send the slash flying, he is able to deflect Leon's slash. However, Leon starts delivering consecutive slashes this time. After Belle withstands 3 of the consecutive slashes, the 4th slash overwhelms him and he is blown away backwards again. Nina catches Belle in her arms, but they both still get blown back and roll on the ground. Everyone in Aariopiad and the school district are shocked at the cruel scene they are watching. The former Freya Familia members are used to such a sight, though Hedon is annoyed that Belle is unable to do anything. While the rest of the Hestia Familia members become pale, Welf is surprised to see the great sword he made for Belle is about to break, even though it was forged using adamantite gifted to him by Hephaestus after winning the faction war, with some mithril mixed in. Seer, who is skipping out on work, meets and asks Hestia if it's okay to let Belle go through this. The letter Hestia received from Balder only said Belle would help with a subjugation at the valley and resolving the quarrel between Aariopiad and the school district, but she didn't think it would end up like this. Hestia and Seer discuss that Belle is now a hero candidate who will be sent to fight the Black Dragon, so this preparation is necessary. Nina begs Leon to stop this, but he replies this is a baptism that Belle needs to overcome in order for him to be worthy of being a hero. Belle, while struggling, gets back up to continue the fight in order to fulfill Leon's wish of wanting another hero to appear. Belle himself also wants to be a hero, and so asks Nina to continue healing him. Belle plans for the next attack to be the last. He fires his magic onto his greatsword and uses dual charge. By boosting its strengths and weaknesses with dual charge and complementing it by infusing it into a weapon, Belle will be able to create a flying flame slash, which is a pseudo-afterglow. Leon wants to clash with Belle with all his might right now, but a large roar is suddenly heard. Belle sees a huge navy-purple centipede-shaped creature with wings and scales appearing in between the dark clouds near the tornado, which Leon confirms is a dragon. The dragon fires a light beam at Leon, though he dodges it and is now standing next to Belle and Nina. Belle is surprised that the attack was able to reach a target 5 kilometers away, and powerful enough to create a crater from such distance. Leon explains it's a Venomsky centipede dragon, a monster discovered by Zeus and Hera Familia on the dungeon's 67th floor. It most likely escaped through a distortion in the spirit's storm caused by the snore that occurred more than 10 days ago. If a dragon manages to escape the tornado, it will get caught in the school district's barrier, called the Lightning Web. The barrier is a magic net that looks like a web of light that would entangle a dragon that broke through the tornado, and the more the dragon struggles, the more it becomes entangled. Even if the dragon manages to break through the net, it would have bought some time until a subjugation force arrives. Leon says the Uraanopiad match is suspended and tells Belle to defeat the dragon with his own afterglow. If Zeus and Hera Familia were telling the truth, then the centipede dragon has level 7 potential. But Leon could tell the dragon is weaker than Eudaeus, which doesn't reassure Belle, who has never fought Eudaeus. Leon says he will buy time, and runs off at the same time the dragon finally breaks through the web. The dragon flies towards Belle's group at high speed while firing its laser twice at Leon. The next shot is fired at Belle and Nina, which Leon blocks with his axe of light. Belle resumes his charging, and when the dragon senses danger from hearing the grand bell sound, it just like when Althea fight the legendary Leviathan, Althea magic has a bell-ringing sound. The centipede releases miasma from its entire body. Nina gets in front of Belle and uses Lagriel Krishheim in order to protect him from the miasma. The rain of miasma is unable to enter the barrier of light, as it is purified and fades during impact, though Nina has to put all her power into it. Belle sees the miasma as forcing Leon to defend strongly and destroying the entire terrain other than where Belle's group is standing, like it's the end of the world. Belle now understands just how terrifying the furthest part of the north is, especially when the place has more dragons, like the one they are fighting now. The people who are watching the battle through the divine mirror become speechless from the fact that there are many such powerful dragons inside the tornado. Hermes and Balder say, as if telling those who have finally noticed that they don't have much time left since the end is approaching, and so they shouldn't be fighting each other right now. Uranos wishes for everyone to work together and give birth to many heroes as possible. After realizing why the world needs heroes, Belle is resolved to cut down the dragon in front of him. While Grand Bell continues to ring, the trigger that Belle thinks of is Leon Vardenberg, a hero who pursues the backs of the past heroes and continues to protect the lower world in the current era. After the charge has reached the full 5 minutes and no longer having any doubt, Belle unleashes Argo Vesta Sacred Fire's Afterglow. The fiery slash is sent flying and becomes a huge slashing flame of light that cuts the centipede dragon in the air in half. The dragon's body is then burned up by the flames and turned into ashes when the flames reach the magic stone. The flying slash doesn't stop after hitting the dragon and then splits the dark clouds in the sky, causing some blue sky visible and sunlight pouring down. Leon congratulates Belle and says he's glad he went on this adventure. Belle is certain that Leon, who knew about the dragon that escaped from the seal, could have defeated the dragon by himself and was prepared to defeat a stronger one, but he brought Belle here in order to make him learn Afterglow and slay the dragon. Another reason for this adventure was to help resolve the situation between Aurario and the school district. Leon had planned to make the dragon interrupt the final match of the Aariopiad, which is now treated as a draw. While everyone is still watching through the divine mirror, Leon then asks Belle if the adventurers in Aurario can defeat the dragons by themselves, or if the school district can protect the lower world on their own. Belle answers that even if a great hero appears, one person can't win alone. He then quotes the words of a hero in his favorite book that was read to him by his grandfather, which fits with the belief that having many heroes is better than having just one. Belle believes they can't win without everyone. And Leon, who agrees, also says he wants everyone to unite as they are all facing the same threat. After hearing each other's words, Belle and Leon exchange smiles and shake hands. Hermes, with his huge voice delivered using Magic Stone product, asks everyone in Aurario and the school district what they will do now. Someone who can take care of the dragons in the valley won't appear if Aurario and the school district continue fighting each other, and so the gods offer to mediate, which everyone accepts. The Aariopiad ends with both sides having 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. With the help of the gods' mediation, the school district no longer demands for the return of their orichalcum, and in exchange, they will be involved with the plan to build an elevator in the dungeon. After Belle's group arrive back in Aurario, Belle, Leon, and Nina then notice an unusually quiet atmosphere in the city, which causes them to stop walking and feel uneasy. Leon can hear a commotion occurring in the center of the city, and Belle suggests they go there. Ina, who is there, notices Belle and looks at him with a pale face, as if saying to get away from here. Once Belle smells blood, he steps forward and sees many adventurers wounded, with some of them missing body parts. He then sees a tattered banner which has the emblem of a clown. A young man with black hair shouts that the expedition has failed and the faction alliance was annihilated on the 60th floor. While covered in blood, he begs for support to be sent for his comrades who are still in the deep floors. The golden-haired female swordsman who is the source of Bel's yearning is nowhere to be found, filling him with despair known as Loki Familia's annihilation.